Hello, work life warriors. I hope you're doing well. So, today I want to talk about a topic that is to me very interesting. It is near and dear to my heart. It is what I create my brand around. It is a lifestyle for me. And so, I would like to take some time to discuss it. And this is going to be a long video, but I think it's worth the discussion and I would love to know what your thoughts are about this topic. So I was sent a video from a friend, and it was a podcast. The podcast was or is Hardly Initiated, and so I watched it. And in the podcast, they were talking about like culture and what is American culture or what is the culture that most people partake in, right? What is the mainstream culture? And so Tyshawn from the podcast asked, who is having any wholesome fun in this day and age? Who is doing anything wholesome? And so I would like to say that I'm doing everything wholesome for the most part. I live a wholesome lifestyle. And to be honest, in our culture, it is not respected, it is not cherished, and it is looked at as impractical, immature, and people disrespect you all of the time. They think that you are incapable of handling your own business, of making decisions. And so I think it's worth talking about it, right? And so, what I want to do is talk about why I believe that wholesome is dirty. Yes, I said it. Wholesome is a dirty topic. In our culture, we can talk about many things that are considered X rated. We even hear commercials or advertisement that are risque, but nothing is treated more dirtier than happiness, fun, play, wholesomeness, right? There are so many more movies that come out each year that are violent, that teach, dysfunction, drama, TV shows, music. There's way more content that is negative, violent, controversial, that causes conflict between people than wholesome. So I let's start with this. I stopped watching the news maybe about 15, 20 years ago because I noticed that I would start my day off with the news to get the weather, and then it would completely just throw my day off. I would be in an attitude thinking about all of the things of the world, feeling like I need to put the world on my back and figure out how I can add value, how I can solve the problems, how I could be the change I wanted to see in the world. And it was exhausting. I felt like the world was on my shoulders, and I couldn't take more than two steps forward without feeling exhausted, tired, and having to rest. And so I realized that my main problem was the information that I was taking in or consuming, my diet, right? Which started off in the morning with negativity from the news. And so I stopped watching the news, right? So for the most part, that was where I started. Now, as far as my diet, I have completely eliminated mostly anything that is not positive or beneficial to me. So I stopped watching after the news. I stopped watching, horror, action, violent movies. I stopped entertaining myself that way. One of my favorite movies back in the day used to be Kill Bill. So I have completely rewired and reshift the way that I think because I do not watch those types of things for entertainment anymore. I tend to stay away from anything that is polarizing because it causes conflict in your brain, mostly between your left and right brain. And in this society, your left brain, your logic will kick in, right? More than your creativity. So I stay away from any negativity. I don't consume that. I keep it out of my diet. And your diet is anything you consume. So it's not just what you eat and what you drink, but it's what you read, what you see, how you're entertained, who you talk to, your lifestyle choices. All of that consists of a diet. So I completely changed my diet. From there, I made sure that I removed myself from environments and places that did not make me feel good, that were negative, that you could feel the energy low in these environments, right? You have high energy, you're in a good mood, you walk into these places and you feel like your energy just plummet, right? So I started to detox from these environments. I made sure that I was only in environments that fed my soul, make me feel grounded, how I want to feel, amazing, right? And so I eliminated that. And then the last stage was people. And so I eliminated the people who had toxic lifestyles, who wanted to partake in self deprecating habits, behaviors, talk, beliefs, thoughts. So I just kind of removed them. Any person that wasn't helping me to thrive and I couldn't inspire them to thrive and to grow, then we just kind of parted ways, right? And so again, before the people, as I was making these changes along, within my life, the people around me made mention about what it is that I'm doing. They would call me boring. They would call me square. They would say that I'm taking all the fun out of life when I was having more fun than I ever had in my life, just being, or participating in wholesome activities. I didn't necessarily need to run the streets or hit the clubs or, drink or partake in substance abuse or carnality or anything like that. I really just enjoyed myself sitting down, in the quiet or going out in nature or doing the things that I really enjoyed doing as a kid, riding my bike, playing games, puzzles, dressing up. I just really fell into the things that really brought me joy as a kid and how I can incorporate them into my already busy life. And so the people around me called me childish, they called me impractical. They said I was naive. They didn't like my changes in lifestyle. I did not want to go to, unhealthy places anymore. I did not want to go to Golden Corral and eat all of this unhealthy food for me, right? Um, as far as my lifestyle, a lot of things in my life I eliminated that wasn't wholesome for me. It did not make me feel good. It did not produce the benefits that made me thrive. And ultimately, I knew it was in my best interest to eliminate them. But the people around me did not like that. They did not like the new me. They did not like the changes that I was making. I tried to invite them along to, join me instead of going out to eat. Let's go for a walk. They were not having it. It created a lot of tension, but it was mandatory, right? It was mandatory. The tension is called resistance. It was mandatory to come out of a culture that is unhealthy, unwell, to shift into a culture that is more beneficial to me. And so I am always now more light, more free, happier. My emotions throughout the day tend to be more positive. My thoughts are more positive. And it's just because I changed my diet and what it is that I consume and how I approach life. And so, in general, when I am out and about, I am talking to people, I'm meeting people, or when I first enter a room, there obviously, from my experience, people can see or feel that there's something different about me or how I show up or my energy, right? And so, people are extremely curious when they first meet me. I would say maybe they never experienced an energy like mine before, and so they are completely intrigued initially, right? They want to know, right? And that's where I would like to start the discussion. So obviously, as a scholar, I have I have an agenda, I should say, agenda on what I want to talk about. So I want to start off with the wholesome lifestyle and what do we do when we encounter a person who is happy, right? So I would like to ask you, put it down in the chat. Are you happy, first off? And secondly, have you met someone who is truly happy? Like truly happy, not happy because of the material things that they have in their life or what they acquired or the power that they may have in their life, but they are truly happy. I would love to know. Please put down in the chat if you've met someone who is truly happy in the chat. I would say most of us would say no. We know people who come close, but when you talk to them, you realize that they're not necessarily happy. They may be content, but they're not happy. They may be satisfied, but there's things that they would like to improve. But improvement doesn't necessarily negate happiness, but in this case, it does, right? And so, for the most part, we don't meet a lot of happy people. I do, or I host events. I've been hosting events for over 20 years. I've been around all different types of people, and it is rare to come across people who are happy, right? I meet a lot of people who are happy-ish, who come close to happiness, but they're not necessarily happy, or they wouldn't classify themselves as happy. So it's rare to actually meet someone who is happy, right? So if you actually meet someone who is happy, they walk into the room, there's a light, a aura about them. Instantly you change, you turn your head, you want to know more about them. What do you do? I would love to know in the comments, what do you do? I'm going to tell you from my personal experience. So, I am a happy person by nature. As a kid, I was always a happy person, even in the worst scenarios. I was the kid laughing, joking, playing, or trying to add some fun and light when people were just losing their mind, right? So, in the worst case scenario, I am going to dance in the rain. I absolutely enjoy feeling positive emotions, being happy and joyous. It is my natural state, right? To be happy, joyous, and playful. That is my go to, is what I wake up as, happy and playful and joyful. So, life in general hits me just like it hits everyone else, right? But because of my personality, people tend to think that I haven't experienced much. They think I haven't gone through everything, that my through a lot of things, and that my life is peachy keen, that I haven't had any problems. Everyone likes me. Everything works out for me. I always feel good. I'm always winning. Okay. So, what I would like to say to this is yes, just like you and everyone else in this world, I deal with problems and challenges, ups and downs, highs and lows. 2024 was such a hard year for me. My whole world was shaken upside down. Every area was pulled from under me, right? But what the thing about my personality is, regardless, I am going to dance in the rain. It doesn't mean that I don't feel sadness or disappointment or any negative emotions. It just means that I can hold those negative emotions alongside my positive emotion, or my temperament, right? So my temperament is joy, fun, laugh, playful. And even if I am sad or having a bad day, I can hold those two emotions together, right? So this is why people say check on your strong friends, or really ask people how they're doing, because people could be smiling and really suffering, because depending on what your personality is, you could just be a happy, joyous person, but you could be going through a lot, right? And that's me. I go through what everybody else go through. I just happen to have the personality where I dance in the rain, and people just don't believe it, right? They think I'm faking it. They think that I am faking it till I make it. They think that it's not possible to hold two strong emotions at once. They think it's not possible to have peace deep within, so that although everything is happening around you, you still feel that peace, right? Kind of like you are the sky and everything else is weather. That's how I am, right? That's my personality. That's my temperament. Everything around me could be falling to pieces, but for the most part, I'm going to be laughing, joking, and smiling, because I understand its benefits. I understand it's happening for me. I know it's not happening against me or to me. I know that I can learn and develop and grow and build anti fragility through everything. So I've thought about this many times. I'm upset, or back in when I was young, I was upset in the moment, but then it works itself out, and I wonder what I was upset for. So realizing that, I kind of always just keep the temperament of happy and joyous, although I may be sad and angry and frustrated, right? I do acknowledge my feelings. I write it out. I feel them until they dissipate. I do not just sweep them under the rug or avoid them or ignore them or anything. I hold space for that feeling alongside my temperament. And so people just don't believe that it can be done. So in my experience, people will meet me and they'll go, she is really a happy person. She has so much energy. She's fun. I want to be around her. Although there's a sense or a hint of like disbelief that I can't possibly be this happy. I'm making it up. Maybe it's just a moment in time. They caught me at a good moment and it can't possibly be sustainable. And so they are intrigued by me. They want to be my friend. They want to come close. They want to talk to me. They want to be around me. And they just want to test whether I am truly happy, how often I am happy, if it is real, if it's fake, right? Am I faking it till I make it? How often am I happy? What is bringing me happiness, right? So they are in complete disbelief about my happiness, right? So they're trying to figure out if it's real or fake. So to them, they're like, okay, if I get close enough, I can maybe see what are the resources she have or the things around her, the people or the experiences that she have that makes her so happy. So they start to think about happiness in the form of standard, right? Or a standard. So like, what is her money like? What is her title? Do she have fame? Or, does she have influence? Do people like her? Basically social capital, right? In addition to tangible resources. And so they go, oh, this is why she's so happy. Look at her life. She has great people. She is abundant. She is moving in this world in a powerful way. People like her. So this is why she is so happy, right? And most people are satisfied with that. They go on their way. The people who are closest to me or who spend more time, who are still intrigued, want to know more, they will be around me during different seasons. So during different seasons, just like everyone, I go through different seasons, right? Highs, lows, ups, downs. And when my low season comes, they think that, okay, here's the opportunity for the happiness to go away. Okay, here's to see what she's really made of. Of course, it's easy to be happy when things are going great, but can she be happy when things are not going so well in her life? Right. This year, 2024 alone, I had major events happen, and most of the people around me were looking at me like, how are you still maneuvering? How are you still happy? How are you still waking up every single day, putting one foot in front of the next when I would have been, crashed out or um, been depressed about what is happening in your life, but you still wake up every single day smiling, right? And so it creates, I would say, confusion. It makes them a little um what's the word, uneasy, uncomfortable, right? Because now you have to face truths that you've kept or beliefs you kept within yourself for a long time, that happiness only is attainable when things are going well, that no one can dance in the storm or dance in the rain, that when things are bad, everyone handles problems the same way. They pout, they complain, they mope, they go into depression, they try to control. But now they're forced to look at how how they perceive the world, how they are showing up in the world, because my world could be crumbling, but I'm still the same Ebony. Everything could be going wrong, but I still show up with positivity, with love, because I believe how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if I can stand, if I can gain more in when things are bad, and I can stay mindful to get the lesson, and then I have more to celebrate when the trial has passed, right? And so for me, during those moments is exactly when I double down and co-create more with life and make sure that I am more aligned with source and more in flow, which looks more to like the world that I'm playing, which I am. I am playing, I'm co-creating with the world. And so people think that I don't even take my life seriously. How are so many aspects of your life failing at one time, or failing, or these big shifts in your life? And you don't even, make a move to adjust them, to shift, to do something different. Like, what's really going on? Excuse me. And for me, it's I do take my life seriously, but I also realize that I am not in control. I am only in control of what I can control, right? And so for me, if something is out of my control, the only thing that I can do is um, fall back into what I can control and celebrate the lesson that I know is soon to come, or the blessing that I know is soon to come, right? Because on the other side of whatever's happening is an opportunity for growth, for whatever it is that belongs to me on the other side, right? And so for me, that's how I perceive anything in life, that it's an opportunity to grow, it's an opportunity to learn, and I am going to grow and learn through the pain. What's the point of focusing on the pain itself without understanding also the lesson that the pain is trying to give you, right? And so that is just my mindset. And that is not the normal mindset, right? When things go wrong, people panic. They want to control, they want things to work out. And for me, I'm just relaxing, I'm playing, I'm enjoying myself, I am aligning myself with source. And that just looks crazy and not professional, and doesn't seem like I care about my own life, because I do not do or move in a way that we have been taught to do when things are not working the way we want, right? We're taught to go out there, grind, go harder, work quicker, sleep less, eat less, do whatever you need to do to make that thing happen. And that's not necessarily how I think. I spend more of my time being and getting in alignment for that thing, as opposed to trying to control and do something to make that thing happen, right? The second one is when they're trying to figure out if it's real or fake. They are perception people, right? So for them, they would rather look like that they are happy than actually do the work to be happy. So for them, seeing me do the work, seeing me process my emotions, journal, laugh through the pain, figuring out what I can learn from whatever it is that I'm experiencing, they would rather just look like they're happy than do the hard work, right? A lot of us run away from the hard work of uncovering the things that stand in the way of us feeling happy, being happy, experiencing life to its fullest. Now, again, when I say that my temperament is fun, play, laughter, and joy, I would argue that all people's temperament as children are laughter, fun, play, joy, right? The thing is, I have maintained my childlike innocence throughout my adulthood and will continue to do that until I transition into the next life or beyond. And so for me, it's the most important thing is to maintain your childlike energy, your childlike lens, to make sure that you are seeing this world in the way that is most beneficial to you, instead of how it benefits the people around you, those in control. It's a matter of reconditioning your mind, right? Because happiness is an emotion that we can produce at any time. But why don't we? Why do we choose other emotions, other negative emotions? Why do we allow it to be our temperament when we know we came into this world as children, happy, playful, exciting, curious? We want to know, we want to grow, but somewhere along we lost our childlike energy. We let the world beat us down, and we decide to walk into the things that are not necessarily beneficial to us, right? That make us feel more in control over what we can never control, right? And so a lot of us focus more on, I want to look like I'm having a good life. I want to look like I'm a good person. I want to look like I'm happy. But really, I'm miserable. I'm not enjoying myself, and I am not happy. if someone comes around and shows me that happiness is attainable. Actually, I may resent that person because everybody I know around me, we are operating this way out of survival. And then here is a person who is practicing wholesome behaviors, and I see them thriving, right? And so now I'm forced to look at how I perceive the world, how I'm maneuvering in the world. I'm forced to not just be fake and pretend that I'm happy, but really look at the things that stand in the way of me being happy. Why do I choose negative emotions? Why don't I produce happiness every single day? Why my lifestyle is not a wholesome lifestyle that is beneficial to who I am, where I want to go, to help my community, to help my family, to serve the world, to contribute my best self to the world. Okay, so once they see that I'm happy, they're trying to test if it's real or fake. Those who say, okay, it's real, they go on there certain ways. They may admire me, they may become a supporter. Those who say it's fake, they are now disturbed, right? Because they are forced to look at the world differently now, right? No one can truly be happy from their eyes, right? I've heard many people say this. And so now they have to look at the reality of that there are people who can be happy with little to nothing, or people who have everything who are not happy at all, right? So those who want to stay around to figure out who I am and how I have happiness regardless of what's going on tend to practice one or five techniques once they show up in my life, right? Now, disclaimer, there are some real people who show up, who love me, who care about me, who help me grow, who push me, help develop me. But for the most part, like I said, I host events. And so, as far as social circles, I host communities of practices. And so, one of the things I notice is when I start to get, make friends or try to build a relationship with a person, what happens is one of the five or six things happen. So, the first one is control. So they could try to control me, right? They would say, "Oh, this person is so much fun. They have a good time. I have a good time when I'm with them. They make me feel so happy. They make me feel like I can accomplish anything, that I could be my best self. I just really enjoy this person." And so they go into control, right? How can I control this person and make sure I can have them at my beck and call whenever I need them? Whenever I need an energy boost, a cheerleader, I have this person right here. I want to make sure that they don't go anywhere, that other people do not get access to them. How do I control how they feel, how they show up so I can use it to my benefit, right? How can collect them so when I need them, I can pull them off the shelf and use them in a way that's beneficial to me? It's kind of like the story that I heard. It's like you admire something, you see it, you're like, oh, it's beautiful. Okay, picture this walking out. You're on a nature walk and you see a beautiful bird, and you're like, oh my goodness, this bird is so beautiful. Wow, I've never seen a bird like this before. It's so majestic. It's beautiful. It's intriguing. It makes you stop and watch because you're in awe. You're like, wow, I've never seen a bird like this. I didn't even know it was possible. And so your admiration kicks in. So you stop, right? You're watching. And depending on what type of person you are, what you have to do, some people will watch for a certain amount of time and then they move on. They either lose interest and move on, or some people go, I will never forget this, and I am better because another bird out there, because I saw a bird out there that was so beautiful that it put my heart at ease or made me feel like I was in flow or in that's something, or I felt wonder, put it like that. Okay. There are other type of people who want to capture what they admire, right? They want to capture it. They want to put it in the cage, right? You belong to me. I own you. I possess your beauty. It is mine to see only. It is mine to possess only. I do not care if your beauty was meant to be shared with the world. It is now mine. I can own it. It is now mine. And then also it can be a level above it. You can tame it, right? So although you can cage something, doesn't necessarily mean that it will be quiet, right? You could put it in a cage and it could just be so wild that for the rest of its life, it just make a whole bunch of noise, bang against the thing, just be not fun, unpleasant for you to have it as a pet, which is the best thing something cage could do is give them hell, okay, to be released, right? So you could tame this animal eventually where it's no longer wild and it's no longer fighting to, get out or to be free. It kind of reminds me of the elephant story where they get a baby elephant, and when they first put the baby elephant out, they put a chain around its ankle and they put a nail in the ground. And the baby elephant, of course, is not big enough to pull itself away from the chain to get free. And it struggles, it fights to try to get free. And it does it for a while, right? Trying to break away from the chain. But as it grows, it stopped fighting because it was taught that it's useless to fight. Nothing is going to change. This is your new future. This is your new lifestyle. Just accept it, right? And so the elephant stops fighting. And as it grows larger and larger, it doesn't even know its power. So at any moment, it could just walk away from the chain and the nail, just walk away, right? Just it would just pop it and walk away, but it doesn't know its power. It stopped trying a long time ago. So now that the elephant is domesticated, and you could just put a little rope on its leg and it will forget that it is powerful and that it is free. And so you can tame something. And then train it is get it to do tricks, right? You can get it to speak, or you can get it to twirl or open its wings. And so a lot of us, after being caged and tamed, our spirit is so broken that we're trained in ways that benefit people, and it's not in our best interest. People who exploit us, and it's not in our best interest. And so we have to think about in our lives who you are, and if the people around you are controlling you where you can't step into your wholesome lifestyle, where you could be your best self, where you can be obedient to what you believe in, to your goals, your dreams. You have to release them and you have to focus on being beautiful, wild, and desirable instead of tamed and caged. And a lot of times it is a fight. Freedom is not free because there are those who want to exploit us and take our freedom away from us. And so it is in our best interest to know who we are, to have a strong lifestyle that help uncover who we are and nurture who we are so that we're not controlled. Okay. The next one they want to do that they tend to do is if they can't control me, then they go into draining me. So they like, oh, I can't control you the way I want to control you. You're so happy, you're so pleasant. I'm so miserable. I'm not having a good time. So what I'm going to do is if you think so highly of yourself, you think you're valuable, you think you're worthy, what I'm going to do is get you to do wrong so you could feel less valuable, less worthy, right? So you can have some guilt and shame when it comes to yourself. And so they would try to drain you of your energy, of your mindset, and try to get you to do the things that you say don't serve you, right? So if you say, oh, I want to live a clean lifestyle, every time you're around this person, they want to partake in alcohol or eating foods that you don't want to. And when you say, hey, I'm on a diet, I don't want to do that. And then they'll go into you think you're better, you're ruining the fun, you're such a square. And so they're trying to drain you of the happiness or the positive emotions that make you you because they don't generate them. Another thing that they do is distract you. They'll try to keep you from doing right, right? So not only will they get you to do wrong, they would try to keep you from doing right. So if you go, oh, like for me, this I'll give you a perfect example. For me, I like to rise early in the morning. I like to rise with the sun. I like to get my vital energy and align with my circadian rhythm. So I go to sleep, before 9 and I like to rise at 4 a.m. before 5 a.m. And what the people around you will do will or what they'll try to do is at night they'll try to keep you up, right? They'll try to throw you off so that you don't get to sleep on time, or in the morning they'll try to distract you, turn off your alarm and not be beneficial to, you getting up, or they may do many things to stop you from doing right because they know in you doing right it puts you back into alignment, and then you may no longer have a need for them or want to deal with them. Another one that they do is they steal, right? And these last three are in the Bible: steal, kill, destroy. So they'll steal. They'll try to steal your joy in any way possible. If they're feeling frustration and you're feeling happiness, their goal is to. They know that they cannot meet you at happiness, right? But they know it's easy to bring you down to frustration. So what they will do is try their hardest to steal your joy, right? Do whatever they can to bring you to frustration, to a negative emotion, even if it's just the top level of a negative emotion, even if you just go down from, let's say, happiness to content, they still feel like they won because they stole your joy, right? This is why Tabitha Brown has to say, have a good day. And if you can, don't you dare go messing up anybody else's, right? And that's because, for the most part, there are miserable people in this world, and they resent the fact that you are happy, that you are living a wholesome lifestyle, that you have figured out what you want to do to your life, what you want to do with your life, and what you want to contribute to the world. And so they will go out of their way to try to mess up your day, to try to steal your joy, to make sure that you are not on target, on task. Another one is to kill your buzz, right? This is when you are celebrating, you are having a joyous day, joyous moment, joyous experience, and then they try to kill your buzz by ruining your pleasant experience. And they do this in many different ways. We don't even really think about ways in which people try to ruin or kill our joy, right? One kill our buzz. One of the ways that they do it is nagging, right? You feeling good about yourself, and then they say something that is a backwards compliment or something that is negative, but they slide it in there in a way that is conversational. They will start gossiping about other people or things that are related to what you're doing, but not necessarily you, right? They'll give you a whole bunch of negativity. They'll start talking about all the negative things in their life going on in the world, how this happened to them, and what it did to them. They will also start catastrophizing. Anything can go wrong, and where it's just a little anthill, they will make it a mountain, right? They will be like, "Oh, the sky is falling," and you're like, "Why are you doing that? It's not that serious." They will instigate, right? They want to keep drama going on around you. So something that will be small and will come and go, they try to blow it up. And most importantly, they incept on you, right? You're having a good time. You're like, oh, this is going to be a fun day. And they're like, you sure? It looks like it's going to rain. And then all day you're thinking it's going to rain, it's going to rain, instead of you focusing on the beautiful weather that's right in front of you. Okay, the last one is destroy. And really, this is the state of most people. It's like the crabs in the barrel, but it's destroy. If I can't have it, no one will. And unfortunately, we live in a society like that. A lot of people do not want to see other people win because they're not winning. They don't think it's possible for everybody else to win. There's a scarcity mindset. It's like your win. If you win, it takes away from me winning. They don't think abundantly. So to them, it's like you're getting it at the expense of me. And if I can't have it, none of us will have it. And that is a very destructive and scary mindset to have. And many of us have it, right? We don't want to be the person who's left behind. So, for instance, if you have a friend group, you don't want to be in the friend group where the one person blows up and the rest of everyone else don't, right? Because now you feel some type of way. And you may openly try to sabotage that person because you don't want them to have it, right? You didn't get it, you don't want them to have it. And so a lot of times we see this, right? You get a new car, and then somebody wants to drive it. You love, family, friends, spouse, and then they crash your car, right? Because they don't have a car, and you're like, what happened? They didn't want you to win. They didn't want you to have it. They didn't have it. They don't want you to have it. And so a lot of it goes down to self-worth, self-value, and principles. And so that goes into my second point, which is, do we believe we deserve to be happy as a culture, as African American people, as American society in general? I'm asking, do you believe we deserve to be happy? Like, please put it in the chat, in the comments. Let me know if you believe you deserve to be happy, and if you think as a culture we believe that we deserve to be happy. So when I think about this in American culture, although we think about American culture being the land of free and plenty, and how there's upward mobility, my question is, why do many of us end up or die broke or poor? If that's the case, right? If this is the place that you can come to and build anything and make anything of yourself, why do so many of us die broke and desolate? And so when I think about this, it is a self esteem, self worth, self value issue. We don't value ourselves. In this society, we're not taught to value ourselves. We have a lot of conditioning and upbringing that tells us that we're not worthy. We're only worthy based on what we produce, what we do, who we serve. And so a lot of us don't feel worthy enough just to feel happy. We feel, how can I feel happy when there's people in the world who don't feel happy, who are starving? There's this going wrong. I don't have everything that I need. I'm not who I want to be right now. The audacity to feel happy, right? We don't have a bandwidth to process positive emotions constantly, right? We have the bandwidth to have positive emotions here and there, feel them for maybe 20, 30 minutes, but then we actively sabotage them because we think we don't deserve happiness. When things are going well in life, when everything is working out in your favor, all the chips are in order, everything feels good internally, what is the first thing that we do? Up, something's wrong, something's about to happen, right? Because we don't think that it's possible that we can feel happiness long term, and we don't think we deserve it, right? We don't think we deserve happiness. We think we deserve to suffer. We think life is suffering. Life is supposed to be hard, complicated, and challenging. We don't make things easy. We don't expect a life of ease. We don't walk towards a life of ease because we don't believe we deserve it. We believe that we are the worst and that we deserve all the punishment in the world. Now, that is just American culture. I believe that that is human culture in general, but I'm going to speak to American culture, and then I'm going to take it a level deeper, which is African American culture. So we African American culture, we have a collective trauma response, obviously, right? Uh, Slavery is the middle of our story. It is not the beginning, it is the middle of our story. But our legacy, our history, especially in this culture, is always started from the middle of our story. And so we, as African Americans, we have a low sense of value, worthiness, self esteem, self respect because of where our story starts. We don't think that we deserve happiness. We don't think we deserve a quality life. We don't think that we deserve all of the abundance that everyone else receives while living. And that is one of the things that we need to focus on as a community. We think that we are unworthy, right? And so every single time something good happens, for the most part, we self sabotage. If you look at a large percentage of our celebrities, the people who are in the spotlight, a lot of them wind up, regressing or getting caught or self sabotaging and blowing their own chances for abundance, or, to have an abundant life because they don't believe that they're worthy, right? And so some of the biggest people have drivers of unworthiness. They are working so hard. The reason why you know them, the reason why they're so influential is because they're dealing with feelings of unworthiness. And what we do know about resources is they will amplify who you are. And so just getting more money and more resources, they get to the top and they become more who they are. And then next thing you know, they are self-sabotaging and they're in a whole bunch of trouble and they're racing back to the bottom because they never dealt with their feelings of unworthiness. And I never understand why therapy isn't one of the first things we do when we get stable, when we get resources to make sure that we are healing not just from our past, but our generational trauma. Right? We live in a very toxic environment, a very toxic society, and it's always in our best interest to figure out how can we heal from the things that happen in your lifetime, but also heal from the things that happen in your parents' lifetime and their parents' lifetime and generational in general, right? Because we're all carrying the genetics from our, forefathers and foremothers. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that we're not only healing our trauma, but we're healing generational trauma for the next generation. And as far as the collective trauma response, we think we are so lowly. Right now, it is a race to the bottom. We have no standards. We just want to do whatever we want to do. We don't want to be held accountable. We don't want to figure out how we can make our community work efficiently. We don't want to work together. We just want to be, have a whole bunch of influence, status, material, power, and maneuver the way that we want to. We are not our brothers and sisters keepers anymore. We are just lowly, right? We're doing so much for the world to see us, to think that we are worthy, to acknowledge us, because we think that we are at the bottom. We don't think that we are worth anything valuable, right? And so that is a self-esteem, self-love, self-acceptance thing that we have to work on. And we cannot continually work on that while being in the shadow of things. And by shadow, I just mean unconscious behaviors, thoughts, ideas that you haven't necessarily dealt with or processed, right? And so a lot of times we go into the shadow, or our behavior or our community is focused more in the shadow because we're unhealed. We're not focusing on our trauma, healing them, focusing on our generational trauma, setting a new standard, working on our self-esteem, self-worth, self-value, because we have been desecrated as a people, right? And so it's in our best interest to figure out, how can I heal myself? How can I heal myself for my community? How can I, heal my generations so that the next generations can benefit from high self-esteem, high self-worth, high self-value, from a lifestyle that is wholesome, that benefits them, and not a race to the bottom to see who can fight or take off the most clothes or say the most disrespectful thing for a small piece of change, right? If you look at our culture in the last 20 years, it is truly amazing how bad it's gotten. And it's up to us to add some more wholesomeness back into our community, to not focus on all of the shadow things, which again, you are allowed to do and be whatever you want in this life. If you are more attracted to the shadow behavior, fine. It's nothing wrong with that. You get to choose what you want to do here, but we need more people to be unapologetically wholesome, because I know more people want to do right. I know more people want to be stand up and make the right decision. The culture doesn't necessarily allow it, right? There's a lot of blame and shame going on as far as who did what, and it's you, and particularly in our community. African Americans are inherently bad. You should have shame. We are inherently sexual. You should feel shame. And it's a lot of blame going on who did what and why this is happening to us. But none of that matters. As far as blame, it's a useless emotion for me. I always said that, because it doesn't matter who's to blame. You still have to go out and do the work. So now that we know who's to blame, now what? You still have to go and do the work, right? You still have to fix the problem. So blame is useless. It's a useless emotion, right? It's a way to scapegoat instead of taking accountability. Shame should not exist, right? It's nothing inherently wrong with any human being. Shame says you are bad, you are wrong, you are insignificant. That is you That can only be true if you believe that about yourself. And in general, our community have felt that about themselves and shown up in that capacity for such a long time. And now it's time for us to change, which leads us to the mindset. Our mindset is very poor minded. I will go on and say it. We focus on the things that don't really matter. We spend our time, energy, and resources on things that don't matter, topics that don't matter. We're fighting the wrong audience, the wrong people, the wrong goals all the time. We always miss the mark. And it's why things are moving so slowly for us, and we haven't been able to get stability and sustain our own communities and power because of how we maneuver in this world. Our mindset, our poor mindedness in the world. It's not that, you know, this is why you could take somebody out of a poor situation, poor environment, and they will still operate in that mindset, right? You can give a person from a poor environment of, you know, millions of dollars, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to end up right back where they started, if not worse, right? That's what statistics show. It is because of the mindset. You could take the person out of the mindset, right, or the environment. The mindset is in the person. You are the environment. And so it's in your best interest to make sure that your environment, mentally, emotionally, is beneficial to you, that you are not playing victim, you're not living in victim mentality, you're not always saying they're to blame, look what they're doing to me, but taking some accountability on how you show up, what you do in this world, how you maneuver, what's best for you, how you're going to be powerful and exhibit your power in the world. And when you decide, or when you will decide to be obedient, not because you have to, it's because you want to, right? And so our mindset is really how we experience this world, right? No one can really experience this world without the mind that is perceiving all of the senses that help you to experience it. The body is the vessel in which we experience the world, and the mind is our kind of like our projection screen, how we see the world, right? And so if we always see ourselves in the world as the victim, perpetual victim, someone's always kicking us, pushing us down, holding us down, then we are disempowered, and we never believe that we have the power to stand up, to change our own communities, and to practice wholesomeness, because it's what is most beneficial to us and our community. Our community have been well it, Our community has been in okay, survival mode for such a long time. I think that's the best way to say it. We've been in survival mode for such a long time. We're just surviving. We do whatever we need to do just to get by. So we avoid, we distract, we annoy, we withdraw, we numb, we obsess just to get by, right? We're not thinking about how we can thrive. What are the lifestyle, or the behaviors, the practices, the thoughts that will help me thrive in this world, right? Even if it's a counterculture, what can I do to make sure that I am thriving? And a lot of us feel like we just don't have the luxury to do that, right? We don't have the time to think about how can we switch from surviving to thriving. But I beg to differ. We spend a lot of time on unnecessary things. Unnecessary things. We watch at least 4 hours of TV. We're on social media throughout the day. There is so much time that we waste, that we could take that time and reinvest it back into ourselves, so that we are thriving, so that we like who we are, so that we are efficient, so that life is not knocking us down every single time because we don't have the skills, abilities, talents to maneuver, right? We stop learning after we're not forced to. We think that we only have to learn to obtain more resources. We don't really value education. We don't have growth mindsets. And so it's in our best interest to figure out how can we shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, how we can switch from survival to thriving, because we deserve that, right? We deserve to thrive. We have given enough. We deserve to thrive and not just survive our whole life. I don't believe that that is our lot in life. But if you believe it's our lot in life, you won't do anything to change it. Okay, so leadership. We have a severe leadership problem within our community. That goes to the survival and the thriving part. It also speaks to the victim mentality in things. We do not have strong leadership in our community, and by leadership I mean each person, each individual. I believe that there are 8 billion people in this world, so there are 8 billion different leadership styles. Unfortunately, most people are not leading their own lives, right? There is no one size fit all. There are not just 12 leadership styles. You have to lead your way and your life in a way that's most beneficial to you, right? We all have different wants, needs, values. Nobody There's not a monolith. There's no one size fit all, one style that will fit for you, one thing that I want that you don't want. Like that's just, it doesn't work that way. So you have to lead your life in the way that's most beneficial to you. Who are you? What do you want? What are you here to do? What do you want to contribute? And you have to lead yourself and manage yourself daily to make sure that you are living up to who you said you wanted to be and what you said you wanted to do. We have to be responsible for our own lives, be responsible for how we eat, how we feed ourselves, what we consume, how we move. And we have to be accountable when we make a mistake. We have to be our brother's keeper, right? We have to figure out how we can work as an individual strong, right? But interdependently work as a community. We need both. We need strong leaders who can lead their life well, but also know how to work well in community, because our community right now really needs strong leadership. And it really comes to a wholesome lifestyle, because right now we have leadership that is strong but leading us more into our shadows, leading us into, you know, the sunken place. We're racing to the bottom, and we need more wholesome leadership to help us take more responsibility and accountability and make sure that we are investing in our community. Okay, the third part that I want to talk about is diet. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but I want to specifically talk about this as far as like our African American community. I don't care what anybody say. Our community is extremely negative. We do not like wholesome things. We do not like things that are goofy or lame. We need things to look cool. We need to look tough. And so we tend to consume a lot of negativity. The jokes that we have towards each other, negative. I was raised Jehovah Witness, so I did not watch a lot of TV growing up. When I went off to college, I started to watch movies and TVs, and I mean TV shows, and I started realizing that a lot of our content, it's negative. Even the family shows are negative. And if you grew up consuming these types of or this type of entertainment, it is no wonder you have low self-esteem. It is no wonder you don't value African Americans collectively, or what we have contributed to this world. You don't value our experience, because if you have consumed it through eyes that don't view us as valuable or significant or equal, then of course you have low self-esteem. Of course you have low value, and you think you're worth little to none, right? Because that's the trick of the enemy. That's the trick of the people who exploit you. They need you to feel some type of way so that you're powerless and you continue to move the way they need to so they can use you. And so, as far as our negativity goes, our jokes are negative. We consume negativity. The things that stay on TV, it's negative. We just gravitate towards negativity. The positive, loving people, we may have admiration for them, but we don't necessarily support them wholeheartedly, because we don't believe that we are good and we can be good and we can contribute goodness to the world. And so a lot of the times what we add is negativity. Also, we are like crabs. We are crabs in the barrel. We do not want one person to win unless we all can win, right? We talk a lot about, like, oh, I see, African American or Black women winning out there all the time, and I want to support them. And it's easy to do that from social media. And when you don't know that person, we can like a post, love a post, say something kind. But in your real life, are you a crab? Are you supporting the people around you in your real life? Are you really there for them? Are you adding positivity? Are you supporting them? Are you filling them up, or are you depleting them? Uh, Recently, this year in general has been an eye awakening year as far as jealousy and envy. And I just realized that most people in life are very jealous and envious because of social media and the climate that we're in. And so you can look at, the people who you believe come from where you came from and see them at their top and celebrate them and say positive things about them. But the same people are sitting right in your everyday life and you do not show up and support them that way. As a matter of fact, you are jealous and envious over them. You stand in their way, you block, you are a gatekeeper, you say negative things to them. You can get on, go out of your way and drop $250 on a Beyonce ticket or a rap concert. I mean, I've spent 250 on people, but I'm accountable. And you can go out there and spend money on all of these people that you admire, but there's people in your everyday life who are striving to be their best, to show up, to do their best, that you don't support, that you call cheesy and corny, and you try to stand in their way, and you try to block them from greatness. I want all of us to really think about how we show up to other people in our lives. How are we supporting or depleting people? Are we jealous? Are we envious? How are we contributing to our community? How are we making sure that our lifestyle is wholesome or in the way we want it to be so that it works in our best interest? Another thing that I just must address is the carnality in our community. Come on, come on. Like, we do not have to make everything about flesh. We don't have to dress sexy. We don't have to listen to sexy music. We don't always have to be so provocative. We don't always have to chase that. Everything does not always have to be about that. As a matter of fact, I believe that that should be last on your list if you cannot take care of yourself, if you're not responsible or accountable for your life, if you're not maneuvering in a way that is providing upward mobility, then that's where your time and attention and your focus should be. A lot of time, these relationships or these situationships are just a distraction. They are keeping you from your best self. They're keeping you from growing and developing. They're keeping you comfortable and convenient because as long as you have a place to go to get your needs met, you don't strive for more, you don't do more, or you do it at a slower tempo. If you were getting nothing and you needed it, you would work harder than if you're getting something and you only partially need it. So it's very important that we keep ourselves to ourselves, practice more abstinence. Please, like, we have a big problem in our community. And in general, this is a big problem, but in our community, it's a big problem. We need to focus on healing than hunching. I said it. We need to focus on healing instead of hunching. I said keep yourself to yourself until you heal because you're bringing children into these situations. You're bringing unnecessary drama and trauma. You're adding on to generational trauma before you even healed. And it's like you're making more of a mess. You could have easily cleaned it up, but now it's so messy. So let's just keep ourselves to ourselves until we're ready to be accountable and responsible to our community, to our family. Yes, I said it. As far as our jokes, I told you our jokes already are mean spirited. We do not like PG jokes. Our jokes got to be cussing down. We got to be talking about somebody. It's just, we have to do better, right? We should not be joning on each other. The world is not kind already. So we really don't need to sit there for hours and hours talking about each other, joning on each other, saying mean spirited jokes, being hateful to each other. You spent time out of your day to put those comments on someone's post when you could have been reading a book, taking the class, healing, journaling, praying, meditating. You are spending all this time engaging in negativity and it is not beneficial to you or that person. It is poison to y'all both. Stop it. I said it. Stop it. Television. I am so tired of seeing now. I can't say that I see it, but I see clips. I don't stop for it, but we really about to say smacking people and throwing things at each other, that's entertainment. Cussing each other out, that's entertainment. That is low quality. We do not like ourselves. We do not like each other. We should not be doing that. That is not us caring about each other. It's not having integrity. It's not wholesome. It is dirty. You say wholesome is dirty. It's dirty that we treat each other like that. How can we expect other people to treat us with respect, kindness, and decency? And look how we treat each other. Not that other people have the right to come and exploit us because we're treating each other that way, but we have to set the standard. You teach people how to treat you. And if we are treating each other so poorly, why do you think anyone will ever have any respect for us? Now, not having respect for a whole class of people because of how some people behave, that shows more about your character than our character. But at the end of the day, we know that most people have poor character, including us. We all, as the human family, have poor character that we need to work on, and it starts with our lifestyle. Is our lifestyle wholesome or is it negative? Movies, same thing. Now I want to go on to like the culture. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but like survival culture is not beneficial to us. It is not beneficial to anybody because we do a lot of things that we would normally do to survive. Think about it. We've heard many stories of people doing things that they don't feel good after they're not surviving anymore. They don't feel good about it. So we want to make sure that we are making decisions out of thriving and not surviving. Also, this is a bully culture. I don't care what people say. Cancel culture, you are bullying people. We want everybody to be the same, think the same, show up the same, say the same, wear the same, talk the same, everything, right? It has to be the same. And when somebody is different, we bully them. We go out of our way to bully them. We have always been the different among the human family. And we've been bullied. And now we have turned into our bulliers. We are literally them. We are bullying everybody all the time, bullying ourselves, bullying our children, our communities. We need to stop this. It is not beneficial for us as a community to keep bullying people. And in general, American culture is a bullying culture, but we do not have to become the culture. Be in the world and not of the world, right? We do not have to focus on bullying to get to the top, bullying to get our needs met, bullying to be heard. We are worthy and we need to focus on healing and focus on the worthiness internal that makes us feel like that we do not have to attack externally. um, Numb to pain. We do not like pain, but we don't understand in pain is how we grow. We grow through the pain. Human beings do not become better because everything is good and peachy and lovely. We become better when things are hard and challenging, when it pushes us to grow and expand. And but it's instead of us walking towards the pain and healing and growing and expanding, we are running to pleasure. We are numbing ourselves so we don't feel pain and we are running to pleasure. We are pleasure seeking and it is not beneficial to us. We're spending so much money on pleasure, on entertainment, on cosmetics, on beauty, and our communities are suffering. Our children are suffering. Another thing that I think that I kind of addressed, but I really think that we need to really unpack this is the things that we say to each other or the perspectives that we see things. When things are wholesome or of quality, we call them corny, cheesy, lame, or goofy. Why? Do we really want to be cool and tough to the detriment of our souls, our communities, our families? Why? What, please, I would love to know. Please share with me in the comments what have being tough done for our community. I would love to know. What has it done for us? We used to laugh, joke. Even the men used to laugh, joke. We would be so happy. We were a happy group of people. And now we have went from the happiest group of people to the most miserable group of people. And we have suffered enough. We don't deserve to generationally just be miserable, right? It's okay to be corny. It's okay to be cheesy, lame, and goofy if it brings you happiness, if it is beneficial, if it's efficient, if it makes life worth living. Why do you want to be cool? Please share with me in the comments what have cool done for our community. Why do you want to be cool? Most people who are cool are broken. I said it, right? Their collateral or their resources lie in their influence over you. They don't have the resources you think that they have. They just have social resources. So it's important for you that if you're going to do the things that's beneficial to your life and it's considered corny, cheesy, lame, or goofy, that you do them anyway and not care what people say about you, not care what the culture is. Create a counterculture that's beneficial to you, because we all know the culture is incivility. People are rude, discourteous, mean, dominant, controlling. They want to be better. They rank each other. I want to be better than you. I need to be better than you. So I'm going to put you in situations where I can exert my power over you, my dominance over you, right? And so, with all this incivility in the world, do we really want to continue to add more to it? Do we want to lean into the misery? Or do we want to do what's best for ourselves and be more wholesome? Have more wholesomeness about our lifestyle, about our community, about how we show up, about how we think. I think it's very important. Now, human nature in general is trash. I said a human nature is trash. We are selfish. We have so many bad qualities. We have amazing qualities too, but we don't lean into them because that's not the environment that we're in. The good qualities are often mistaken as weak um, or pushover, right? And so we don't tend to want to be a good person. We want to be a powerful person, which is not the same thing. We will not praise the person who is a good person as much as we praise the person who is a powerful person, right? If you look at how many people who would flock to the good person and ask, "How did you do that? You know, who are you? Like, how did you get here?" As opposed to the person with money, power, influence, we already know the answer to this, right? So human nature at this point is corrupted, and I know this because, and here's a way that we can prove it. Right now, any given person, let's just say genie lamps are real. Any given person was given a genie lamp, and they say you are, allow one wish, or even three, but let's just say one. Share with me in the comment if your one wish is really world peace, because we know no one will wish that with their one wish. No one will wish that. That's how you know human nature is really selfish. No one will wish with their one wish world peace, right? And you don't technically, your ego would want that anyway, right? World peace. A person who would wish for world peace is doing it out of ego, because we don't know enough to know if world peace is beneficial, right? What would the world look like if everything was peaceful? That means the animals don't eat each other, so it's overpopulated. Like, think about these things. We don't really want peace. So, and I'm a person who is kind of hippie, tree love, kumbaya, I want to play and laugh all day. And even I wouldn't wish for world peace. I would wish that people would be authentically themselves. That would be my wish, that everyone has to show up authentically themselves. No lies, no games, no dishonesty. Everyone has to be themselves. That would be my wish. But we know that no one will wish for world peace. Most people will wish, their one wish will be for themselves. Please share with me in the comments, what would your one wish be? And do you know someone who will wish world peace, or think you know someone? Do you think anyone would ever wish world peace? I would love to know what you think. We know, right? Human nature is selfish, it's greedy, it always wants what it wants. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that you have to be aware of. But what we do know is that we are neotenous. So human mammals practice neoteny, which means we are built to benefit from play until we die. What does that look like in our culture? So the people who study us, who exploit us, they know that we are neotenous, right? So they go, if they have the biological need to play, because we have four biological needs: food, water, sleep, sex, play, right? In that order. So they know we have these needs, right? And this is why carnality is a big thing in our community. They push it because they know it is a biological need. And since we are in survival mode, we focus on our four biological needs. And if you notice, those four needs are hitting us very hard in our communities. As far as food and water, we have so many places like Flint that don't have clean water. As far as food, there is fast food everywhere, on every corner in the hood, alcohol in the hood, every liquor store on the corner, every hood. The food is not very fresh. It's not beneficial. You don't have a lot of farmers market, so we being hit in that one. We have so much stress that we take on, so we're not sleeping well, right? Our bills, things are passed due, so we don't sleep well. As far as carnality, that has been a release for us. So we use it as a way to release, and they push that objectify us sexually in content so that we lean into that, but we never really self actualize beyond our four basic needs. And then the last one is play. And how do they trap us with play? They tell us that play exists outside of yourself and you need resources to play. You want to play, you want to dress up, okay, spend all of this money in hair, makeup, nails, lashes. That's a billion, trillion dollar industry, right? You want to play, go and watch somebody else play sports instead of you go play basketball. You know, sports is another billion-dollar industry, right? Oh, you want to do something fun? Come to my amusement park, entertainment, right? Go to the movies, go to a concert, all in which someone benefits from in this society. So when we think about how we're playing, who is it benefiting, right? Is it wholesome? Is it helping our community? Is it actually de-stressing you? Is it making you feel more powerful, feel more in control? Do you feel more grounded, more peaceful? Or do you feel like you spent all that money to play and you still need to de-stress? You are not renewed. It didn't necessarily work for you. Adulting is a trick that they gave us in general in this society, right? And adulting is why most of us choose to hide or distract or avoid or ignore in the shadow side of life because it's too hard to adult and be responsible and accountable, which creates the wholesome lifestyle, right? It's like I'm adulting, I'm doing what I have to do, but also it's so hard. I need a release. So I'm gonna spend my time releasing in the shadow, right? The things that are easy to get to, low hanging fruit. I am just going to go ahead and do that because wholesome is conducive or beneficial to moral or general well being, right? And right now, I am just in survival. I'm barely adulting well. And the rest of my time, I'm going to spend in what makes me feel good. I'm going to indulge my senses. I'm going to escape. I'm going to focus on the pleasures that are the opposite of the pain that I feel. If I feel miserable inside and I'm seeking pleasures or activities that make me feel alive, and in this society, most of those activities are going to be negative or shadow activities. And so it's in our best interest to figure out how can we balance adulting so that our adult life is wholesome and that if we do, and I'm never advocating for not participating in shadow activities. I am just talking about moderation, right? You can have your guilty pleasure, but why have 2,500 guilty pleasures, right? Have your one. Work on your lifestyle to it is so efficient for you that you get down to the two or three things that you do that is considered shadow or dirty or guilty pleasure, and the rest of your life flows so seamlessly that those things don't matter. But if you feel miserable, if you don't feel happy, if you feel stressed all the time, it means that you are not adulting well. You have not figured out how to have a lifestyle work for you and you not work for the lifestyle, right? We don't want to spend our whole life just running away from pain, feeling stressed out, feeling anxiety, feeling pain. We also want to figure out how we can enjoy life, how we can thrive, improve the quality of our lives. And the way we do that is by mastering our lives. And it's important for us to do that through our lifestyle. And our lifestyle needs to be wholesome. So I touched on the top of all of what I really wanted to say. I didn't want to go too deep. We are already an hour and 20 minutes in, which is a very long video. But there are some things that I really wanted to discuss. Why is wholesome dirty? Please put down in the comments. Do you believe wholesome is dirty? Why is it dirty? How does having wholesome fun impact your life, your social circles, your community? How often do you have fun? Are you having wholesome fun? Are you healed? Is healing a priority for you? Right? Do you want to make your life work well for you? I would love to know down in the comments. So, as always, work life warriors, I want you to go out there and manage your stress, to be responsible for your one life. You have one life. Why not improve the overall quality of your life by adding play, fun, joy, laughter into your life to make sure that at the end you really did enjoy the journey? Why suffer when you don't have to? Why make things harder when you don't have to? Why continually consume negativity when it's not beneficial for you? I would love to know. We do so much and we don't even understand why we're doing it. So I would love to know what your thoughts are. Work life warriors, as always, get out there, manage your stress. I will be here tomorrow for Fun Funny Fridays. We are going to do some laughter yoga, which again is one of those wholesome, cheesy funs, right? Who wants to laugh for no reason at all? That's not really what we do anywhere, right? But it's so important that we laugh. Laughter helps to decrease cortisol, and it's our body's biological defense against stress. But we don't use it in its context. We only use it when there's a stimulus, comedy, humor, jokes, right? But we really should just be laughing when we're stressed out. How many of us are going to use that tool when we're stressed out? Stressed out and laughing for no reason at all. Why? Because it's wholesome, it's considered cheesy, corny, lame, boring, and people don't want to do that. They don't want to be considered uncool. They don't want to be considered not tough. And so they won't do what's in their best interest. And you wonder why your quality of life is so sucky, why you don't enjoy your life, why you dread it, why you feel miserable. Is because you are not truly living because you're trying to live up to a lifestyle that doesn't serve you, right? We are all conforming to a life, to a role that doesn't serve us. And it's in our best interest to create a wholesome lifestyle that works for us. So I hope this helps, Work Life Warriors. I would love to know your comments below, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.